Well, good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in, and happy Friday. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and boy, is it cold outside. Oh, it is crazy cold outside. Make sure you take a sweater with you, and, well, gosh, and in the world of sports, Juan Soto is the highest paid athlete in the world, and Bill Belichick is coaching college football, and linebackers are walking off the field not wanting to play, and dogs and cats are living together. It's crazy. It is crazy. Anyways, welcome in. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of charter schools. We've got campuses right here on the west side of town in Castaic. We've got a campus here on the east side of town in Agua, Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. We've got a home study program that is just growing exponentially. It's called iLead Exploration. You know what? Check us out at iLeadschools.org. We've got classroom-based schools. We've got hybrid schools. We've got online schools, home study programs, everything that your child needs, regardless of their learning style or individual needs. Check us out at iLeadschools.org. So yeah, we keep our eye on education right here in Santa Clarita and across the nation as well. But we also like to keep our eye on the valley, like the show says, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And in the meantime and in between time, we like to put a little smile on your face, maybe a little chuckle, because if you're not laughing while you're doing it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So let's do it. We've been out for the last couple of weeks. We were out for the Thanksgiving holiday, and then I had a conference thingy that I was doing last week. So hope you enjoyed the reruns. But anyways, we are back at least for a couple of weeks, and then we'll head into the holidays. But yeah, we're already starting to plan some great shows for after the first of the year. Really looking forward to those. You're gonna really love the lineup we've got coming for you in January. But don't sleep on today. We've got a great show today as well. We've got Kris Nilsen joining us in just a moment. Kris is one of my favorite guests. She is the college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School. She's a high school counselor. She's been at SCVi, gosh, I think we're looking at close to a decade now. So we'll check in with her in just a minute, see the great things that her students are doing, what colleges they're heading off to next year. And then in hour number 2, we've got Eye on the Valley regular Jeff Barber from the Maine. Jeff is the arts supervisor for the city of Santa Clarita, and as such, he manages the Maine Theater right here in downtown Newhall. And I think Jeff's bringing in a very special guest with him today, I believe. Someone who's been an actor and director for over 50 years. So we'll get to that in hour number 2. And then we will wrap up the show as we always do with my big brother. That's right. Apparently I'm not allowed to have nice things on my own, so Mom makes me share my radio show with my stupid big brother. So if you haven't heard the show before, it's kind of a train wreck, actually. My brother calls in with trivia questions and what he thinks are fun facts, and he says he's going to do something a little bit different today, so I'm a little scared, Andrew. So if you're here to hear about the best in free public education here in the Santa Clarita Valley, from kindergarten all the way through, it's actually TK now, all the way through 12th grade. Or if you're here to hear about some of the incredible entertainment offerings for the holiday season here in Santa Clarita, or if you're just here out of morbid curiosity, settle on in. You're in for a great show. As I mentioned, my first guest today is Kris Nilsen. She is college and career counselor with SCVi Charter School. Kris grew up just down south in the San Fernando Valley, graduated from Cal State Northridge with a BA in sociology, criminology, and corrections. She later went back to CSUN and got her MA in education with an administrative credential. She also attended Cal State Long Beach, where she graduated with an MA in social work and a PPS credential. And she has her college counseling certificate from UCLA, because go Bruins. She truly is a lifelong learner. Gosh, she's never done with school, is she? Kris worked for the Department of Child and Family Services as a family reunification caseworker for a couple of years. She also worked at Pinecrest Schools. Remember Pinecrest? Yeah. Kris worked there for 18 years before they closed their doors in 2016. And she now lives in Oxnard with her husband of more than a quarter century and their 2 daughters. She has found her passion as a high school counselor and enjoys visiting college campuses across the United States. She's now in her ninth year, I believe, as the college and career counselor at SCVi. Kris, good morning. Welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
We love having you here, Kris. Let's update that resume. You're in your ninth year now at SCVi?
Yes, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It's my ninth year, and sometimes it just seems like yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking it seems like yesterday, but it's been a long time since you've been on the show. It has been a hot minute. So can we take a minute to share with our new listeners how you came to SCVi and what exactly your role is at SCVi Charter School?
Sure. So when Pinecrest schools closed, I had a colleague who also worked with Pinecrest who had come to SCVi the year before. And just hearing all the wonderful things that SCVi does, and the school, I lived in Simi Valley at the time, so wasn't really sure about SCVi, didn't really hear about it. And I interviewed, and I was very excited to move from my role as a director at Pinecrest Schools to a high school counselor, which was kind of my lifelong dream. It may sound kind of weird, but I've always wanted to work with kids. I have my entire life, from summer camp to counseling to being a principal, and now my favorite job is being a counselor. And so when I started at SCVi, it was the academic and pretty much college counselor. And nowadays, I work with the seniors. I'm the senior advisor. I'm also planning a lot of the activities for the school. We are TK through 12, and we're trying to keep that community going. Last year, I had 15 kids that graduated from SCVi that had been here from kindergarten through 12th grade. So we love that kids stay with SCVi so long.
Yeah.
And I get to work with them as their academic counselor when it comes to schedules and transcripts and credits, and also for college and talking about career. So I am very lucky to be able to be part of all aspects of the education of the kids at SCVi.
Well, that is fantastic. No wonder you're one of the most popular people on campus there. You're probably organizing proms and senior sunrises and sunsets and then helping kids get off to college, get their schedules straight and things like that. No wonder you love your job, Kris. We often hear you bragging about how you have the best position, the best job at SCVi and throughout iLead. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about why you love being that college and career counselor and launching kids off into the world like you do?
Yeah, I really enjoy working with kids. And this is that point in their life in high school when they're thinking about their future. And I love being part of that conversation. I'm lucky at SCVi because we are small. We're a family kind of school-oriented, very small. And I get to have those relationships with all the kids. So not only do I just work with the seniors, when they're doing their college applications, but I also get to talk with freshmen and sophomores and know them all by name. And I want them to come into my office, and I want to hear about their interests and what's going on for that day. And I find myself a lot of the time spending days where I just get to kind of hang out with the kids and overhear their conversations and the fun things that they're talking about. And yesterday there was a group of kids that were kind of dressing up holiday, and they were going to the library to study together. And it's so exciting, and it brings me back. It's been quite a hot minute since I've graduated high school in 1986. I'm kind of aging myself there, but I love being around that environment because there's so much energy, and right now we're excited. We have 1 week left, and then we go on winter break for 3 weeks, and I already have kids hearing from colleges that they've gotten in. So It's a really exciting time, and I wake up every morning, and even though my drive is a little longer nowadays, but I just love coming into work. So I feel very lucky.
Well, that is fantastic, and we are lucky to have you this morning. I know it's a super busy time for you. You mentioned some kids are already getting acceptances, but most of your seniors are submitting college applications still or just wrapping up that season. We do appreciate you taking time away from your job there at SCVi Charter School as college and career counselor to talk to us about all the work that you're doing with SCVi's current seniors since they started high school, right? Because you don't just start with them senior year or junior year. What are some of the ways that you kind of handhold or you walk your high schoolers through to get them to this point in high school where they're receiving those college acceptances already?
Yeah, I think I'm lucky, and I think the kids are lucky because I can have those relationships where at bigger high schools, counselors are so busy and they're really only meeting with those kids from A to F, let's say. They have to break up the counseling department. And here I get to be part of all those aspects. So starting in ninth grade, it's, getting kids acclimated to high school. It's quite a jump from middle school to high school. So starting in that spring semester of ninth grade, we start talking about interests and kind of plans for after high school, but want to make sure that they're just, getting used to being in the high school scene. And then in 10th grade, we really focus, we do a personal project, and they start really diving into their interests. And then junior year, the exciting part, I do offer the PSAT. I proctor that here on campus, which kind of gets them prepared for what some of that college testing is. And then in the spring, I meet with them individually to create those college lists and find out maybe what they want to study or where they want to go to college. And then in senior year, it really is getting down to filling out those applications. And I think the most stressful part of all of that is writing an essay. And I know for me, I really push these kids to look outside of California. There's wonderful colleges. There's about over 4,000. And we hear about a lot of the same ones living in California. And our UC system is very popular, and our Cal State schools are great. But to go outside and go to a small liberal arts college that is going to be the same kind of environment that we have at SCVi, I think is the best choice. So we get to talk about those, and I work with them on their essays, and I do write recommendations for every senior that's applying to college that needs a recommendation. And I know at bigger schools it is very hard for counselors to do that, and I completely understand that. Here I'm very lucky that I get to do that. So I am part of every stage of them, kind of finding out what they want to do and maybe where they want to go, and then in the end result, actually getting to see them off when they get to go into that future. And whether they are going to college or a community college or a trade school or heading right into the workforce, or maybe they're going to travel for a year, I get to be kind of part of those plans, and it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Kris, you talked about some of the schools that your kids are applying to, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But one of the things that you taught me a few years back as my son was applying for college, we are so blessed to have the UC and the Cal State system here in California. There's two amazing systems of schools. And when kids start talking about maybe going to private school, going to out-of-state schools, parents can cringe, right? Oh, boy, now that's really going to be some debt. But you taught me that even if kids are going out of state or to a smaller private college, it doesn't necessarily have to be more expensive than staying in state, does it?
You're right. It absolutely doesn't. And I think when you look at these prices, yes, I think that the University of Southern California is about $95,000 a year, which as a parent myself of kids that have gone through college, that's quite a tough pill to swallow there. But private colleges do give more money. The state colleges tend to be, not so cheap. My daughter just graduated from UC Santa Cruz, and it kind of ran me about $35,000 a year. So it's not as cheap as you think, but out-of-state public schools that are around California are also part of what's called the Western Undergraduate Exchange. And there are colleges in states like Colorado and Arizona, even Hawaii, that you can pay California tuition prices out of state. So for those kids that really want to venture out of California without having to pay those out-of-state residential fees of usually about $50,000, they can be part of that Western Undergraduate Exchange, or WUI as we talk about it. So my job, there are definitely colleges out there that are my favorites, and I talk to the kids about those. But my job is to provide information for all of them, and so that the kids can make a very educated choice. And the more choices they have at the end of their senior year, I know some kids are like, I just want to go to community college, and of course, I support that. But sometimes when it gets past those deadlines and they kind of wish, man, I wish I would have kind of applied. I'm kind of changing my mind now. A lot of things change in senior year. So I encourage kids to kind of reach for the stars. And in the end, they can make those choices if they want to attend a 4-year, if they want to stick around home, maybe go to a community college and then transfer. Or they're like, you know what, I just want to get out there and work and make some money and go back to college later. Yeah. And those are all great ideas.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, we've all got our own personal preferences, but it's about finding that right fit for each student, right?
Exactly. And, the kids think about a lot of the same colleges. We all love those colleges of Stanford and
Sure.
UCLA. But it is, not every college fits every kid. And it is, sometimes I encourage kids on breaks to visit campuses. As you had mentioned, I love, when I go to conferences out of state, I love renting a car and driving to see these colleges, and especially the ones that not a lot of people know about. Colleges that change lives are about 43 colleges. They were written about by Lauren Pope, and they are small liberal arts. They encourage you kind of not to pick a major. They want you to explore your interests a little bit more. And so in sitting down with the kids and finding out, some kids, they really think they want to go to a big school. My alma mater, CSUN, now has 40,000 students that attend. And,
Wow.
some kids want to be that little fish in a big pond, and some kids want to be the big fish in the little pond. And so there's a lot of variety out there, and I want to make sure, it's probably one of the most important investments that we make on ourselves is our education in college, and that choice needs to be thought about. And there's definitely work that goes into it, and so I just want to be here with them to help them make that right choice for them.
Oh, yeah, because it's so important to have a good, positive college experience. So, Kris, you mentioned, and for me, it still seems kind of early, but some of your students are getting acceptances coming back. Where are some of the places that your kids are applying to this year, or where are they getting into?
Yeah, so I've got some great schools, and actually our Cal State system. Deadline used to be November 30th for all of our Cal States and
Right.
UCs, and over the years, and pretty much since COVID, some of those deadlines have been extended. So some of our kids, Sonoma State, Sacramento State, San Jose, we've heard from some of those. I have some kids applying to Worcester Polytechnic. They're applying to Colorado, applying to Goucher, which is one of the college that changes lives in Maryland. It's one of my favorites. We've got UC Santa Cruz. We've got a wide variety of kids applying to different schools. We've got Art Center. I've got a couple that are applying to Embry-Riddle, which is an aerospace engineering school in Arizona and also in Florida. And so we've got some kids that want to get into space and be pilots. And so I'm very excited that they're applying to places kind of all over the United States, and that they're already hearing from some of these colleges, which is great.
That is amazing, and yeah, I know SCVi actually has a robust program around the aviation and aerospace industry that y'all have developed, not just in the high school, but down to middle school, even into the kindergarten classrooms. We may get a chance to talk about that next break. We do need to take a quick break, Kris. Kris Nilsen is college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School. It's a small, free public charter school right here on the west side of town, and Kris is able to do amazing things that college counselors at the bigger high schools are not able to do. She's helping prepare her high schoolers and even younger for college and career. We'll talk more with Kris when we get back. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Kris Nilsen. Kris is the college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School. Kris, before the break, we were talking about some of the illustrious schools that your students are applying to, some of the schools that kids have already received kind of that early acceptance into. You mentioned that you have a couple of students that have applied to, gosh, I can't remember the name. There's an aerospace and aviation school that kids were applying to.
Embry-Riddle.
Embry-Riddle, that's right. In fact,
Yes.
I think we had, gosh, it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago, we had a student at SCVi who applied for Embry-Riddle and actually got turned down. And then later on, when they found out all the stuff that they were doing at SCVi around aerospace, some of the different projects that they'd been involved in. I think he had actually sent a project up to the space station to be done on out in space. They called him back and said, "Hey, remember that rejection letter? Never mind. We want you at Embry-Riddle," and brought him out there. So speaking of which, SCVi has had a couple of projects that have been deep in aviation and aerospace for the last decade or so. But last year, your directors they kind of threw down the gauntlet to every single teacher at SCVi and said, we want everybody using the state standards to build at least one project around aerospace and aviation. SCVi's kind of pushed their chips all in. And in fact, this year, you launched an aerospace pathway. Could you give us some details about that career connected learning or CTE pathway around aerospace, Kris?
Sure. So, yes, we have the Dream Up program that's kind of in our lower school and kind of dipped into high school and aerospace this year. And our eighth graders get to fly gliders, which is pretty cool when they're studying. And they would come to high school, and it kind of ended. So we got some awesome funding to launch an aerospace CTE pathway, which is a career technical education pathway. And it's really something that no other schools in Santa Clarita Valley have. And so we started Aerospace 101 this semester, and it was very popular, and kids are learning about different things that have to do with aerospace. And in spring semester, they actually get to fly drones. So they are learning how to build them and repair them. We have a maker space that we use for theater, which we're also going to be using for that aerospace, those drones, and it's amazing. And I haven't seen it yet, but there's a huge blow-up dome, and the kids kind of stand outside of it, and they are going to be learning how to fly these drones. And I think they're going to be kind of playing soccer and doing some other really cool things with the drones in hopes of continuing next year with adding Aerospace 102 and continuing and hopefully getting a lot of those kids that are interested in aerospace and piloting to really dive into this program. So when they graduate, they have that certificate that they've focused on aerospace, and that will just carry them into jobs, careers, and hopefully college.
Yeah, definitely. Whichever path they choose, and we've actually got quite an expansive aerospace community in terms of businesses here in the Santa Clarita Valley, and I understand that oftentimes those businesses struggle to find quality people coming out of college and high school to hire, and so it's great that you're preparing them. That's part of the beauty of being a charter school, right? You don't have some of the restrictions that the bigger district schools have, but we still are a free public school. It just means that we are able to be a little bit more nimble and be a little bit more innovative and push the envelope a little bit when it comes to our education. You know, we talked about the aerospace CTE pathway, but SCVi has really grown in terms of your partnership with College of the Canyons in the last couple of years. Can you tell us a little bit about how learners get dual or concurrent enrollment at COC while still in high school with you?
Sure. So any kids in high school, they can take a class at a community college for free. That's something that California does, which is awesome. And COC is our closest community college. And so for a few years, I really loved the idea of kids being able to take sign language as a language. I would have loved to have done that in high school. Of course, they didn't have that back then.
Right.
And when you take a language at a community college, one semester of that gives you the 2 years of language credit that you need to graduate high school and apply to college. So I worked with COC, and for the past few years, I have actually had a professor come to SCVi and teach our SCVi learners sign language at the college level. And that's what they call dual enrollment. So dual enrollment only has our kids in it. It's not open to the public, which is nice because all the kids know each other. And the classes are very small, and there's a lot of attention given. Concurrent enrollment is when kids take college classes outside of school. So I've had a couple of kids just recently finishing up this semester. They liked ASL so much last spring that they went on to ASL 102 to kind of continue learning that sign language, which is awesome. Cool. And we are just building more and more. We just finished having a counseling 150 class here at SCVi for the fall. And for those kids that do decide to go to College of the Canyons, the Promise program, which allows kids to attend community college the first 2 years for free, one of the classes they are required to take in being part of this program is Counseling 150. So if they decide to go to COC, they've already kind of got one of those classes out of the way. This year, I'm very excited. This semester, we are also offering Understanding Theater. Our theater kids, we've had some adjustments this year with our theater department, and we are so excited to have this level of theater from the college department at COC, and I've met the professor. He's amazing. He's the department chair over there at COC, and so the kids are really excited. So those classes are on campus, and they are part of the school day, so kids don't have to travel too far to get that experience.
Wow, that's beautiful. So you've got kids that are enrolled in high school classes and college level classes, some of them going to COC's campus, or you've got COC professors coming onto your campus and teaching kind of those closed classes just to your students at SCVi. That's exciting. I know this is something that the state of California has really pushed in recent years, Kris. What's the why behind it? What are some of the benefits of enrolling in college classes while you're still enrolled in high school?
Yeah, it's getting the kids to be prepared not only for college but also for career. You know, the expectations for college classes are a little bit higher, and I know ninth graders and 10th graders are kind of getting acclimated to high school, but some kids really are ready for that rigor and that challenge of a college level class. And so we encourage them to kind of break out of the high school environment where, especially at SCVi, they feel protected. We're a small environment. They make those really cool relationships with their facilitators and their friends. And it's an opportunity for them to kind of get out in their community and kind of check out what that looks like. And I think for a lot of kids, if they're interested in a certain subject, they can take that subject. And maybe they decide, it's really not what I thought it was going to be. I loved the class, but I think I might move in a different direction. So it does give them that ability to branch out. In high school, we have a set, kind of standards that these kids, need to follow when they graduate high school, and that's the state of California. And so they have more of a choice of other classes they can take and other interests to pursue, and so we encourage that. And I've actually found that they really enjoy it. So we love them to be able to have those opportunities.
Yeah, and like you said, it really allows kids to dip their toes in, and I think the motivation behind the state's sort of mandate is to get kids ready for college so that transition is a lot more seamless, right? I know I can go to
Yeah.
college. I've been doing it since I was in high school, so that's exciting.
Exactly. Some kids don't think they can. They don't think they can. College may not be talked about, at home, and it's totally
Sure.
understandable. And kids are like, I don't know. And so we give them that opportunity. And because it is protected when they get to take it on campus, I think it gives them that boost and that confidence that they can do it.
Yeah, and that encouragement that, hey, look, you've already gotten a couple of classes under your belt, and you mentioned the college promise. You can continue this education for another couple of years completely for free by continuing on to COC or some of the other community colleges here in California. Kris, I want to highlight a little bit about just the level of care that you provide for the individual students at SCVi, because you mentioned you are such a small community, you are such a small campus. I remember talking to my daughter, who's now well into her 20s and well into her career, and she mentioned she went to one of the large district schools out here, and we were talking after she graduated, and she mentioned she didn't even realize, Kris, she didn't realize that she had a counselor on campus when she went to high school. That's how often they met, right? She didn't know that she had
Right.
a counselor available to her. But while you might not meet with them every day, you see pretty much every one of your kids in the hallways every single day. You get to know every one of them by name, and you work with them. Can you talk a little bit about just the individualized attention that every one of your high school gets from you, an experienced college and career counselor?
Of course. Yes, I fondly, remember, even though I'm older, my high school days, and I remember that I had to go to a UC school, and I don't remember why that was, and I don't hardly remember ever meeting with my counselor. And I think if I had had a counselor back in the day to talk about all these other options, maybe my choices would have been a little bit different. And so I remember that when I work with the kids. I have kind of designed my office to be kind of like a dorm room, no worries parents, nothing, no contraband in here, but it's an environment that I want to welcome kids in. So I do kind of pride myself. Kids come in and they're like, oh, it smells so great in here, Nilsen, and I do have candy and I have water and I do have snacks for those kids who didn't have a lunch. So maybe bribing them a little bit to come see me. But I really get to know them. And when they come in here, it's not always to talk about academics or a problem that might be occurring. It's to talk about anything, whether it's a fun tidbit, hey, Nelson, I have something to tell you, or talk about a weekend. I have the time that I can do that with them. And for example, yesterday, the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, that some of our parents out there know exactly what that is,
Oh, yeah.
just kind of opened. Again, they pushed it back and revamped it, but I had a parent that was having some struggles, and so she reached out, and I said, yeah, come to my office, and we sat down, and we went through it together to make sure that everything was filled out okay. And I did have a couple of kids, unfortunately, that had to move to a public school due to moving out of the area, but made an appointment to come back and talk to me about college because they were unable to see their counselor
Wow.
at the high school, and I'm able to sit with them. And then I did receive a text from a learner that graduated, I think, in 2018, and kind of saying, hey, are you on campus? I'd love to stop by. So I think that those kinds of opportunities and experiences are very limited at a bigger school, and not to say that those schools don't do it right, but I feel that being part of the kid's life where they can come in and feel comfortable and say, hey, can I grab something out of the fridge? I want to be that for them. So to me, it's more than being just their counselor. And I have kids that, might be having a tough day, or there might be some crisis they're going through, and I want them to have a safe space to be able to come. So I really pride myself in being available to them with my door pretty much open all day long.
Yeah, it's such a blessing that the kids have access to somebody who's not just as educated and as experienced as you, but as compassionate as you are. Kris, I want to talk about one more program that y'all offer at SCVi. It's amazing, as small as your high school is, how much you're able to offer. Again, one of the benefits of being a charter school. Talk about the IB program. It's short for International Baccalaureate. I first heard about the International Baccalaureate program when I was actually, ironically, working out of the country. And so I know how prestigious this program is worldwide. But I believe that currently SCVi is the only IB certified school in the Santa Clarita Valley. Can you tell our listeners what the IB program is and what your learners benefit from taking classes in the International Baccalaureate program?
Of course. So the IB program basically are higher level rigorous courses. And if a lot of people are familiar with AP classes or advanced placement,
Sure.
and IB is actually above those classes. And what the idea is, they're more deeper dive into concepts and looking at things from a global perspective, which we always don't get in the standards that we teach in the States. So it's that connection that kids can make with their own ideas, with collaboration with their peers, and with collaborations, across the world, which is so wonderful. And up until this year, we actually had the full diploma program, which included kids having to take the 6 core IB classes. They had to do an extended essay, and they had to do a project. And for many years, since the high school's been open, I think since about first graduating class 2014, we had the full IB program, and now we've actually moved into the International Baccalaureate career program, and finding, especially with everything with COVID, is wanting the kids to also be focusing on that career path. So
Right.
it kind of aligns with our CTE programs.
Yeah.
And the kids, it's a little bit different, where it's not so much focus on the academics. They have to take 2 IB classes, and we offer that in English and U.S. history, which is what they need to graduate. And they have so many other parts of that. They learn personal and professional skills, which is the coolest thing, talking about ethics in the workforce. They do a reflection project. So we have a CP core class where our history teacher, Mr. Wayne, is teaching these kids all about personal and professional skills. And right now they're talking about ethical dilemmas in a career that they're choosing. And the seniors will be doing a reflection project, and then they will be doing their senior defense presentation on this reflection project. So it's really preparing the kids not only for the academic rigor, which they're getting, but also the skills that they will have when they graduate to pursue and be in the career and college world.
It's so cool, Kris. And like I said, it's amazing that being such a small school, you're just around 600 students, TK through 12th grade, that you're able to offer so many different beneficial programs for your students. We've talked in other shows about the dual language immersion programs that you have in kindergarten through 5th grade. You've got aerospace projects happening at every single grade, culminating with kids learning to fly a glider plane in 8th grade and then moving into the career and technical education or the IB programs in the high school. You've got so much going on there. Kris, I know we're coming up on the end of the first semester as we head into the holidays, and folks it's kind of a natural transition. Are y'all still enrolling for second semester? And if so, how do people get more information on whether it's taking a tour or filling out an application?
Yeah, so we do. We do get kids that transfer in, maybe where their R is not working out or they're coming into the area. Definitely can go to the website, SCVi-K12.org, and there's tons of information about our school. And as you just mentioned, why do people not know about SCVi?
Yeah.
All those cool things that we offer being small, it is pretty amazing. And I think along with the awesome learners that we do have an amazing staff, and we have amazing directors that as a charter school, what we can do is focus on their needs, their wants, and kind of asking them every year. We can kind of add programs and clubs and kind of see where are our kids at and what do they need. And it is amazing that we can do that. And I think SCVi has been part of that individualized, program. And what do these kids need? And some kids need more help than others, and some kids need more exposure than others.
Yep.
We definitely have tours. I believe we have at least once a month, or we have those on Thursdays, and they can go on the website and sign up for a tour, and we'll give you the full-on tour and classes of what our school looks like. And if you have any questions, I'm always available by email for those parents who are considering, and also I have my own phone line in the office. So we encourage everyone at least to come and take a look. I know we're kind of hidden off of Hasley Canyon, and they come to our school, and it's like, whoa, it's kind of like a strip mall, which we pretty much own that whole part of it. I think one of the most exciting things for the kids is that we have Jack in the Box and Starbucks in walking distance, so they can venture to those awesome spots for food and breaks. But it really is, I commute now an hour to work every day, and I wouldn't change it to work somewhere else, because I have loved SCVi since I've started here, and the people that I've met and that I've been able to work with, and the kids that I've been able to work with, honestly have been the treasure of my life. And I'm so thankful to iLead and SCVi for these awesome experiences.
Well, we are fortunate to have you, Kris, and I love that you are such a huge part of making SCVi what really is that customized, high level of care of a private school for the public school price, right? Let's not forget you are a free public charter school. Kris, I want to thank you very much for your time this morning and for your service to our students. You have a wonderful holiday. You take care. And again, if you want more information on how your child can enroll at SCVi, head on over to SCVi. Well, it's iLeadSantaClarita.org. You know what, Kris, your website has such amazing SEO. Just Google SCVi, Santa Clarita Valley International, and it's going to be that top hit there. Or you can give them a call at 661-705-4820, 705-4820. Kris, thank you again. We appreciate you. I am Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. All right, welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. Just had a wonderful conversation with SCVi's college and career counselor, Kris Nilsen. She's doing amazing things with her kids, and gosh, it just really touched me to hear a former high school student of hers coming back for college advice, and she's still willing and able to set aside some time for him and all of the other students in her high school. Remember, SCVi actually has transitional kindergarten, so we got the babies 4.5 years old all the way through seniors in high school. And Kris mentioned, the dozen or so kids that graduated last year, and they've got, I think, about that many seniors this year that are graduating who have been with SCVi from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Imagine that, being able to go to the same school your entire public school time. It's absolutely amazing. Again, check them out at iLeadSantaClarita.org or just Google SCVi. Kris did say that they typically take on a couple of new students at the semester turn. So here in January, now's the perfect time to take a tour of SCVi. Again, Google SCVi or check them out at iLeadSantaClarita.org. All right, it is holiday time. We got the tree in the studio here. The weather's getting colder. Everyone's decorating their houses. We're all stressing because Christmas is less than 2 weeks away. Are you done with your Christmas? I haven't even started, Jen.
Really?
I have not.
Oh gosh, man.
I have not. Yes, yes. Oh gosh.
That's
Oh
not
gosh.
good.
I may need to text my boss, see if I can take a
yeah,
half day today
You
and
need a minute
head out
to
to the. Oh
yeah,
God, I don't want to
prepare.
go to the mall. I don't want to go to the mall.
I know.
I don't want to go to the mall. So, I do love the holidays, though. It does get a little bit stressful, but it is the best time of year. I love it. Do you have any favorite holiday traditions or anything that you do in your family or something that the community does? I know we just did Light Up Main Street a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you know what? I've missed that every year. We've lived out here for 10 years, and I miss it every year because we're usually traveling. I guess traditionally, I try and keep it very traditional. I always have to have the kids make cookies for Santa. And we are now at a point with my 2 kids where we have graduated past that whole aspect of Christmas, but it's still a lot of fun. We did the Elf on the Shelf for my kids.
That's fun.
And my daughter at 12 still wants to have the elves out and about, so she likes to now take over that and hide them, and I'm responsible for trying to find them.
Okay, so it's kind of a role
We
reversal.
flipped
That's a
it,
fun,
yeah,
fun
but it's
tradition.
good. It's nice to see. It's funny, like the little things that you do, you don't realize that your kids are paying attention to.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I always make it's like a blueberry French toast breakfast every Christmas morning. It's terrible for you, but it's so good.
That's what the holidays are for.
Yeah, and
fudge for breakfast.
and pretty much, yeah. And a
blueberry
few
French
years ago,
toast for
she said,
lunch.
"Are you going to make that?" And I thought, "Oh, I hadn't even realized that she had been paying attention to that." So now that's our tradition. We have to have that every
is
Christmas morning. Yeah. How about you guys?
That is neat. Well, I love just getting together with family and kind of hanging out. We do kind of a relaxed, very informal gathering where it's just everybody come on over and let's just fellowship together. You know what I like though is I like the lights. I am one of those guys that on Black Friday I am out there and I'm putting up the lights. I gotta have them. Well, mostly because it's getting dark at 4:30 now, and so it's nice to
need
come
'em.
home and you and the neighbors have got the lights up and it's just it's what we do. And like I said, I first thing in the morning, the day after Thanksgiving, I'm out there putting up my lights, and now that my folks are getting up there for the last, well, gosh, it's been quite a while, maybe about 10 years now. I do my lights first, and then get over and I put up my dad's lights. And it was funny. He called me. What was it? Maybe the Saturday after Thanksgiving. He says, "Hey, when are you coming over to put up my lights?" I said, "As soon as mine are done, man. You got to look out for number one." My son has been helping me for quite a while. It's something he and I enjoy together. And even though he lives downtown now, he still comes back. I remember
That's nice.
shortly after he moved out, my dad's wife, my stepmom, she posted on Facebook. It was it was actually kind of sweet. She posted on Facebook, knowing that my son had moved out now. She says, "Hey, does anybody know? I'll pay somebody to put up my Christmas lights." And my son commented on her post, "What in the world? I lost my job." He got so offended, and
He looks
she
forward
didn't
to it
mean
too.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
nice.
it's now just a couple weeks back. He and I
Yeah.
were up there and hanging the lights, and I do enjoy. Once they get up, taking some time and cruising around the different neighborhoods and
Yeah, well, people put so much work into it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. It's so nice. Do you do colored lights or white? Do you
So-
do the icicle lights?
I do the white lights on my Christmas tree, so it looks like the sun sparkling off of the
Yes.
snow on my
Yeah.
Christmas tree. But I like doing the larger color ones outside. Not quite as large, but similar to the ones that we had in the 70s.
Those classic
I
ones,
remember
yeah.
the 70s, they had
Yeah.
great big bulbs, and then I think it was back in the 90s they got real small.
Yes.
And I like putting a little bit larger ones, but definitely the colored. What about you?
I prefer a mix. Like on our tree, we have both.
Okay.
But they're the little ones. We have a fake tree, so it's got the built-in lights. So I didn't think I would like that as much, but I really do. I like the combo. On the house, we do like red and white, so it's a little
Oh, okay.
candy
So kinda-
cane-ish. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's
All
fun.
right.
Yeah, my son is really into like all the inflatables, so that's
Oh, you
that's
got those
his
guys out on the
department.
front lawn, and yep, yep.
That's him.
Yeah, and like I said, I do enjoy driving around. You mentioned people put so much work into it. We've got a couple of neighborhoods here in town that just really go crazy, and some of them it's actually kind of part of the covenant when you buy the house. You've got to,
Yeah, you better be
know,
ready to do this
yeah,
every December.
exactly, and it is quite a bit of work, but it's beautiful. I remember a couple years ago, some friends of mine and we all just kind of piled in. We rented a limousine. Cruised around town
Oh, that's fun.
and cruised all the different lights.
like that.
Our website, KHTS's website, hometownstation.com, has got a list of all the different kind of major neighborhoods that you can go cruise. So if you're looking to cruise the holiday lights this weekend, or, lots of stuff going on for the holidays this weekend, check out the KHTS website, hometownstation.com. You stick around when we get back. We've got Jeff Barber from the Maine. He'll be joining us, and he's got a very special guest joining him that you won't want to miss. We will be right back on your hometown station. I am Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Joining me now is Jeff Barber. He is a show regular here on Eye on the Valley. He is also the Arts and Events Supervisor for the City of Santa Clarita and the manager of the Maine, which is the theater space that the city operates here on Main Street, just up the block from us at KHTS. Jeff Barber is a SoCal native, born and raised in Simi Valley. He's a fourth-generation drummer and a really cool guy. And today he's brought with him a very special guest, Naomi Stenson, who will be featured in one of the Maine's upcoming productions. Jeff, Naomi, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Morning, Matt.
Thank you. Good morning.
So glad to have you. Now, Naomi, I've got a lot I want to talk to you about because you've got a fascinating story, but I want to give my listeners a little bit of background on the theater and what's going on at the Maine for the upcoming season. So let's start with Jeff. As I mentioned, Jeff, you're a regular here on Eye on the Valley, but let's remind our listeners what your role is with the city.
Sure. So I've been with the city for 17 years now in the Arts and Events Department. Started there doing public art projects and then segued into some events, and then for the last 6 years been managing the Maine Theater.
Okay. And the Maine was one of the first, if not the first, kind of real venues that the city of Santa Clarita forayed into purchasing and operating, and now we've expanded to the Cube, and we're going to be opening up a roller skating rink and just making
Yes.
sure. So can you tell us how that all came to be and how the city decided to move into that direction?
Sure. So, about maybe 8 years ago, the Ruppy's Playhouse was needing to leave that space and discontinue their theater work there on Main Street here. And so the city really wanted to keep a performance space in the Arts and Entertainment District, which we call Old Town Newhall, that Arts and Entertainment District. And so city leadership supported the idea of taking on the space, renting it out to folks, and producing our own shows. And really, I think our first season of theater, we only had about 5 theater groups or 5 productions. And now we're up to 23 for next year.
Wow. Keeping you extremely busy.
Yes.
And, that's really a testament, because I think it's one of those sort of well-known facts that government can really be inefficient in running things that are oftentimes so much better done under private ownership. Not the case with so many of these venues, at least not the case here in Santa Clarita. Our local government does an amazing job. That's really a testament, I think, to your leadership and that of some of your colleagues. So let's talk about everything that the Maine does. You mentioned you've got over 20 productions that go on a regular basis. You rent out the theater when you've got time, of course, because you keep busy.
There are very few dates open, but we are filling them. I mentioned some info like that about last night at a retirement party, and said we only have about 4 days open, 4 weekends open in the entire year next year.
Okay. So for folks that don't know, what are some of the different types of things you put on plays? But that's hardly it. You guys do quite a bit of different types of productions. What are some of the things you put on at the Main?
So continuing in 2025, we'll have the Society Improv Group, which was doing comedy once a month at the Main before it was the Main. So they've
Okay.
been an institution, been around for 12 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Doing improv at the theater. So they'll be continuing in 2025, as well as Punchlines at the Main, which is a new comedy night that we started this year, and we're going to continue next year. They trade off the first Saturday of each month, so they'll each
Okay.
do 6 a year. And then we have 2 new events that will debut in 2025. One is called SCV Bandcast. There's a gentleman, local gentleman, who has a mobile studio and is working with. He's really inspired by musicians and music, and so he wants to develop opportunities for youth bands. And so we'll be doing on the first Thursday of the month, similar to the first Saturday with Punchlines and Society. They'll trade
Okay.
off. We have another event that's debuting as well that will be on the first Thursday. So each of those will do 6. So SCV Bandcast is a live show with bands from Santa Clarita, followed by a live podcast interview with the band after the show.
Very cool.
And then the other one is called Canned Ham. It's a variety show. It's kind of like that 10 by 10 that we used to do.
Right.
And this will have some one-act plays and comedy, music, and all of that. And that'll be a first Thursday. And again, trading off with the SCV Bandcast folks. So some new programs, some old ones coming back, and then we also fill the open dates with rentals and our popular Enchanted series, which is the Evenings of Magic or Mentalism.
Yeah.
Those things. And
Very
they're
cool.
all, we're on a record of, I think we've done 8 of them over the last 2 years, and everyone is sold out. So. Pretty fun.
Love that. We're so fortunate to have so many offerings right here in downtown Newhall. You've got music, magic, theater, variety, comedy. It's amazing. And then we're heading into the holidays, which is just going to be a crazy time for y'all. You've got a lot going on. Can you tell me about holiday hijinks? What's holiday hijinks?
Holiday Hijinks is awesome. So Barry Agan, who's a local performer, writer, director, he puts together what's called Theater in a Week. And so the idea is that the directors and all the actors get their script a week before the production.
Oh.
And so they meet at the Main, they figure out their sets and the stories and all of that. It's like 8 to 9 different one-act short scenes. And they're everything from funny things to provocative and music and all of that. And really fun concept where it's challenging for the actors, but also fun because it's totally different. You don't have a few months of rehearsal. You have to get your lines down.
Yeah.
ASAP. So that's opening tonight, actually, at the Main. So we have a show tonight, tomorrow at 2, tomorrow at 8, and then Sunday at 2.
Okay, fantastic. And so how do folks get tickets? And then have you got anything else going on for the holidays?
Atthemain.org is the website to
Love
go, and then you'll get the link to Eventbrite to buy the tickets. And for us, that's pretty much it for the Main as far as holidays.
Okay.
That's such a popular program as well. That one, every show is sold out for, the last 6 years that
Okay.
we've done Theater in a Week.
It sounds like a lot of fun. And you mentioned the website, and it's AT. You actually spell out the
AT.
word at atthemain.org.
Correct.
And then you mentioned the last time you were on, which I thought was really cool. You were promoting an event called Date Night. Are you guys still doing kind of that date night promotion?
We are. The idea is that there's so much down here in Old Town Newhall now.
Yeah.
Where you can have a drink, go to a show, and then have dinner after your show, or vice versa. You could have dinner and then go to a show and then have a drink afterwards. There's wine bars, there's breweries, restaurants. So you can really have a date night on Main Street and make the Main as part of that. And so we have a few restaurants. They're listed on the website, but the Refinery, the Junction, McGinn's, who have the best fish and chips in the United States, as far as I'm concerned, they're part of the promotion too. So it's like 10% off, 15% off, etc.
Okay.
You show your ticket stub. You can show it on your phone or whatever, and they'll give you a discount. So we're just trying to make it, hey, stay on Main Street and have a whole night.
Yeah, some of that stuff that I remember growing up, you always had to drive way downtown
Right.
to get a decent dinner and a show, but you can do it without leaving town
Yeah.
here, and high
Leave the
quality
block.
entertainment.
You don't even
Yeah,
have to leave
right,
the block.
exactly. Yeah, in fact, it really does amaze me. I've been in town long enough to remember, when that wasn't a thing, but now you drive around Main Street, even not even just weekends, but on a Tuesday night at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and there's people walking
yes.
from here to there, and this place is just it's the party place to be in the evenings. So yeah, so grab that special somebody and catch a show and grab dinner or a drink or dessert. Churros got some great desserts right up the street, and just make a great evening of it. And now we've got the whole Main Street lit up. It's just
Oh, it's
beautiful for the
yes.
holidays.
And we're trying to expand more restaurants and other entities with to provide discounts.
All right,
for that date
fantastic.
night.
So you got holiday hijinks for the holiday season, and then as you head into January, what other things have you got coming up over the next couple months?
Well, we're debuting the SCV Bandcast
Yep.
and the Canned Ham. That will be January, February. We'll kick those two off. And then we kick off our season with Heaven Can Wait, which you'll talk with Naomi about in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
We have everything next year. Like I said, 23 productions, 18 this year, 23 in 2025. We have everything from a musical called The Man That Hates Musicals. It's a musical.
It's
to
my
The
biography.
Blackguards, An Irish Tale. There's old-time radio theater. So we have drama, horror, comedy, music, everything this year or next year. So it's going to be a really exciting year. And we squeezed them in as far as productions-wise.
Yeah, so they say in Chicago, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. If you're not excited about the production going on at the Main this weekend, just wait till next weekend.
Yes.
You guys have got so many
exactly.
different things going on. Again, folks can get tickets for holiday hijinks or any of the other things you've got coming up at themain.org. That's at themain.org. And Jeff, I do want to spend some time. I want to really lay out and talk to Naomi about this production coming up, Heaven Can Wait. I'm really excited about that. So let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, you're going to meet Naomi Stenson. She's been in the acting business for over 5 decades. Can it be, Naomi? And she's starring in one of the shows featured at the Main coming up this January. Stay tuned. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Jeff Barber, Arts and Events Supervisor for the City of Santa Clarita and the manager of the Main Theater in downtown Newhall, and actor, writer, and director Naomi Stenson, who I want you to meet. Naomi is a passionate entertainer who got her start with the Paul Robeson Players in Compton. She studied at Bethany Bible College and received her master's degree in biblical studies from Next Dimension University. Naomi, welcome to Eye on the Valley. We're so glad you're here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Jeff, I'm looking at the Main's schedule, and there are a couple of productions that you haven't yet posted, haven't been yet announced, but you mentioned Heaven Can Wait is coming up here in January. So, I'm a child, Naomi, of the 70s, and loved the movie Heaven Can Wait, but this is not the same comedy that Warren Beatty did back in the 70s, is it?
No, it's not. It's on the other spectrum.
Okay.
It's a dramatic play,
All right.
very dramatic, and it's dealing with grief
Okay.
in the deepest form. Of
Okay.
a young lady that lost her husband. They're young,
Oh,
and he died of cancer,
okay.
and what she goes through.
Interesting. So it heavy drama.
Very heavy.
And I see that it's being presented by Terrence Carty. And I Googled Terrence. He's kind of a big deal. What can you tell us about Terrence? How did you meet him? And tell
Well-
us a little bit about him.
He came to audition for a play called Uncle Rufus, the engagement.
Okay.
We have about four or five plays written by Mildred Dumas dealing with Uncle Rufus and his family.
Okay.
So this was one of them, and he auditioned for the play, and got the part of a nephew.
Okay.
And then it went from there. I haven't seen him for a while, and then one day, Felicia, who's directing the show, also said that Terrence wants us to read a play that he wrote
Okay.
and possibly put it on stage. And when we read it, we decided to do it. So we're directing this wonderful play. I mean, I'm used to comedy.
Okay.
All right. So this is, and I've done some dramatic plays, but this is really deep.
So
really deep.
this is something that Terrence wrote, and it's a deep, heavy subject called Heaven Can Wait. It's playing in January. When do you debut?
It would be January the 10th through the 12th.
Okay. Oh, all right. So short run, January 10th through the 12th, here at the Main in downtown Newhall. And again, Jeff, folks can get tickets on your website at themain.org.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, fantastic. So Naomi, you've had you've had quite an illustrious career yourself. You mentioned the series of plays about Uncle Rufus, which I know have been wildly popular. You got your start at the Compton Communicative Arts Academy back in the day. What can you tell us about the Academy and that time in your life?
Well, I moved out from Detroit
Okay.
in 1971 and didn't know too much about Los Angeles or Compton. And I went to a meeting and met this young man. I went to a meeting I think it was for Cal State Dominguez. My mother went back to school to become a teacher. And she said, why don't you go to this meeting? You'll meet a lot of young people. And she's in her 40s at that. She was in her 40s at that time. She's 95 now, praise the Lord. Anyway, so I met Robert Carmack, and told him that I was new to this city, and my mother sent me to this meeting to meet people. And he said, well, let me tell you about the Communicative Arts Academy. And come on down, and, we do a lot of things for the community. They're open for music and singing and dancing and exercising, tutoring the kids in the community. We have a drama workshop. We teach photography. We have a band for the youth and everything. I said, okay, I'll come on down. And when I came down to the drama workshop that night, just to sit and watch.
Okay.
But the directors called my name and said, we want you to do an improv. I didn't know anything about theater.
Oh, wow. So, okay.
So
I'll come watch. I don't want to get involved.
yes.
Okay, great. Come on up and do some improv.
What's improv?
after he explained it to me, I said, okay. Well, he introduced me to a guy named Philip, and he's supposed to be my husband, and he was upset about something. I was supposed to console him.
Okay.
Okay. And I did it, which I did it because Philip reminded me of my husband.
Okay.
That we had separated.
All right.
And that's why I moved to California.
I see.
From Detroit. And so I think I felt comfortable doing that scene.
Okay. All right.
And it sort of healed me, too.
Oh, wow.
It healed me with the situation. But I got bit by the bug. I got bit by the bug, and from there on, I was at workshops. If they had it 5 days a week, I was there, and my son was there with me if I didn't have a babysitter.
Oh, great. So you got bit by the bug, and from there you went on to join a group called the Paul Robeson Players. So can you talk about who Paul Robeson was, if our listeners aren't aware, and why y'all decided to name your group after this amazing actor?
Oh, gosh. So we were still part of the Communicative Arts Academy.
Right.
And we decided to, if anything happened, that we could break away and still be a group. So we decided to become the Paul Robeson Players. And we chose Mr. Robeson because of his values and what he believed in. The people. He believed in the people. He believed in the arts. I mean, he was amazing. He was a lawyer. He went to school to become a lawyer, so he's a lawyer, an opera singer.
Uh-huh.
He knew many languages. He sang in different languages. He played football.
Uh-huh.
He loved the arts, but he was about the people. He stood up for the people. Whatever he wanted to do, it would make a statement.
Yeah.
Dealing with the people. So we decided to change, to make our name the Paul Robeson Players, because of what he stood for, and because of what we stood for, and because of what the Communicative Arts Academy stood for the people.
Sure, and what a great namesake, and just a perfect beacon of a man. He was an absolute physical mountain, and I'm sure if our listeners could either see him or just hear his voice singing, they would recognize Paul Robeson. He just had a deep voice,
Yes.
and a beautiful singing voice, and an amazing actor. So y'all named your acting group after him, and you moved on. Well, didn't move on, but you stepped into a lot of different things besides just acting. It was during this time you were given quite a variety of opportunities. What are some of the different things that you were exposed to, the different roles in the theater that you were exposed to at the Compton Communicative Arts Academy?
We learned how to make sets.
Uh-huh.
We had the opportunity to direct.
All right.
That's what I decided. When they gave me the opportunity to direct a play, I directed it at Compton High School with students.
Wow.
With their students, and let me tell you this story. This young man came to rehearsal one night, and he said, at that time, I was Miss Pryor. He said, "Miss Pryor, I'm glad I came to rehearsal tonight, last night." I said, "Well, I'm glad you came too, you know."
Uh-huh.
And he said, "No, really, I am." I said, "Well, what happened? What's wrong?" He said, "I was supposed to go to this party, and I found out that one of my friends was shot and killed at the party."
Oh,
He
my
said, "'Cause
God.
I'm a Crip."
Okay.
I said, "You a who?" He said, "A Crip," and that means he was part of a gang. I didn't know.
Okay.
These kids were so respectful to us because we took the time out to work with them
Yeah.
and give them respect.
Yeah. Sure.
So, I mean, that was like, wow. Again, going back to Paul Robeson, we're all about the people, right?
Yeah.
So we started working with a lot of children, a lot of teenagers, and that really made me feel good that we did something for the Crips and the Pyrus and the Grape Street Gang. You know, we worked
Sure.
with a lot of different people, and they brought them together
Yeah.
to work together. Wow. From there, our group, we got a chance in 1977, we were asked to do a play in Nigeria,
Really?
and the government paid for it.
Wow.
So we went to Nigeria. We were there for 2 weeks. We did an original play called The Homies Dance.
Okay.
And so while we were there, I got a chance to meet Stevie Wonder. Wow. And I told Stevie Wonder, I hopped in the cab he was in, and I said, "Stevie, my name is Naomi." Like, right, okay.
Okay, like you
And he
do,
said,
right?
"Oh, okay." I said, "And I'm from Detroit just like you." And the guy that was sitting next to him, he said, "Naomi, what are you doing in Nigeria?" And I looked at him because I didn't pay any attention who was in the car with him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Phil, what are you doing in Nigeria?" We lived down the street from each other in Detroit when we were kids.
Wow, a friend of yours from the neighborhood.
So I got a chance to hang with Stevie Wonder,
All
right?
There we go. Hanging with Stevie Wonder in Nigeria. You know, again, Jeff, like you do. That's amazing. So you had the opportunity to really impact the lives of some young people, but the Academy really impacted your life, and more than just in your acting, directing, writing career, but had a profound effect on you personally. I was recently watching a PBS special where they highlighted you and the Academy. Can you explain the impact personally that the Compton Communicative Arts Academy had on you?
Yeah, it's coming from Detroit to California. It was an impact. I came on sort of like a sour note, and when my marriage wasn't doing well, and I decided to start a new life, and the Communicative Arts Academy started that new life. It gave me a new life. I was able to find out who Naomi really is. I grew up. I started growing up.
Oh.
Because in Detroit, I was just a wife and a mother, and I worked. That was it.
Okay.
But when I came here and got involved with the Communicative Arts Academy, it opened my eyes to a lot of things and opened my heart to a lot of things, and wanting to know exactly what's out there for me. And it showed me that, as it showed so many other people. It built my confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And theater does that.
Yeah.
It builds your confidence. You are able to be somebody else.
Okay. Yeah.
And it gets you through your woes.
Okay.
You know, it really will get you through your woes. It's a good medicine.
Yeah.
So the Communicative Arts Academy, and we were a big family. It was a big family. It helped a lot of people become who they are today.
Yeah, and I love that you took that and turned it into supporting, mentoring, serving, and working with others, other young folks or folks your own age, and just bringing a wonder of entertainment and great productions. Again, you're gonna be starring in Heaven Can Wait here in January at the Main, and working with Terrence Carty, the writer. And one more time, reset it if you would, Jeff. When is Heaven Can Wait going to be debuting? How can folks get tickets to see this really powerful production you've got coming up?
Sure, it's at themain.org, and then it opens on January 10th of 2025.
Okay, and
So
I see
in a
you've
few
got
weeks.
In just a few. Yeah, Jen and I were talking about that earlier. It's amazing how the holidays have snuck up on us, and
Yes.
January 10th is just around the corner. I'm looking at your promotional card here. It says for mature audiences, not that it's a body play, but it's some mature themes.
Yes,
You're
it is.
dealing with some heavy stuff, and it's going to be an amazing production. So, Jeff, we talked about it last break. One more time, can you just reset for folks all the different things you've got going on for the holidays and beyond, everything that folks here in Santa Clarita can enjoy at the Main?
So if you want a great laugh this weekend, you should come to the Main and see Theater in a Week, Holiday Hijinks. Trust me, it'll be hilarious. They're about 8 different one-act, short one-acts, and Barry does a great job writing, and it's quite a shtick, and really fun show. And then in 2025, we have 23 productions, everything from serious to really ridiculous,
Okay.
and everything in between, musical, old-time radio theater. And then we have our 2 debut programs, SCV Bandcast, which is live shows by younger bands in Santa Clarita, and maybe not younger, but kind of a variety of original bands in Santa Clarita. That's kind of one of the prerequisites. Say that early in the morning, that they do their own music. It's not cover tunes. And then the Canned Ham, which is the variety show, which will have everything in under the sun and in the sink on that show. The Punchlines at the Main and Society Improv. So we continue with the monthly comedy shows on Saturday nights at the Main. And then sprinkled throughout that, there'll be some independent shows that are, in essence, rentals, but they're open to the public, whether they be music concerts or comedy nights.
All right.
And then also every 3 months we have an art reception and new art at the main in our lobby space. So there's a lot going on. I'm excited about the year. It's packed.
Yeah, and again, January 10th, 11th, and 12th, Heaven Can Wait with Naomi Stenson, brought to you by Terrence Carty, and it's going to be an amazing show, an amazing season. I want to thank you both for joining us, Jeff, Naomi. We appreciate you both bringing your amazing talents to the people of Santa Clarita right here on Main Street at themain.org.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday season. Naomi, break a leg.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a quick break ourselves. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and we've had a great show this morning. We spoke the first hour with Kris Nilsen. She is the college and career counselor at SCVi. She's doing amazing things, and it always blows my mind the individual care that Kris gives each and every one of her high schoolers, and even before the kids get to high school at SCVi. Remember, SCVi offers TK through 12th grade, and as their directors like to say, they are the private school experience, a small transitional kindergarten through 12th grade for the public school price. That's right, because charter schools are public schools, funded in the same way that your local district schools are, but they're able to be a little bit more nimble and offer quite a bit more, as Kris was detailing. If you missed Kris this morning, you can always check out our podcast on hometownstation.com. Check out on-air features. Again, that's hometownstation.com, and you can catch today's show or any of our previous shows that you might have missed. We put on some great shows. Producer Sarah, you're doing an amazing job. Why don't you put into petty cash for an attaboy or an attagirl? And then we spoke with Jeff Barber. He is the manager of the Main Theater here in downtown Newhall. He's also the arts and events. Supervisor for the city of Santa Clarita. I had to glance down at his business card, and he brought with him Naomi Stenson. Naomi is starring in the production of Heaven Can Wait at the Main starting in January 10th through 12th. Heaven Can Wait. It's an original stage play. It is not the 1978 movie with Warren Beatty. This is actually tackling some pretty heavy topics. Going to be an amazing dramatic show. So check them out. They've got a lot of different productions at the Main, and I love that that's their website too, at themain.org. So yeah, been a great show, but I can't really speak for the rest of the show because now it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is an executive and philanthropist. He is a proud father, husband, and dog dad. And very few people know this. When he was in college, he was actually a model. Yeah, he was the before pictures. Yeah, Big T, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's been a great show. You're right. I think this is where it comes off the rails, Frogger.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, Big T, we've got Engineer Jen, like we always do. Engineer Andrew's here in the studio with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Big T, during college football season, Papa always calls you ahead of time with his picks. We do Papa's picks. Papa really stunk it up this year with college, but I know we're heading into the postseason now. Did Papa send in his pick this week?
No pick this week. We're putting things on hiatus for a little while. No suspension, but the regular season is over. Papa's pick a couple of weeks ago was the Bruins at 5.5 points, and so Papa finished 3-8 this year.
3-8 this year. 3-8. I think we're having problems with Engineer Andrew's microphone. He's not able to comment on that.
Don't do that to me. Wait, what?
Papa finished 3-8. So, as we head into the playoffs for NFL and college, people talk about the hot seat. Is Papa on the hot seat, Tony? Do you think he's going to get replaced for next season?
That's the beauty of the bowl season, Matt, is you never know who's going to play and you never know who Papa's going to pick.
Okay. He's coming back for the bowl season, though.
There's a chance.
Okay. All righty,
Papa
cool.
holds veto power. You know that.
Always. It's always, and veto power is usually dependent on his mood, is it not?
He might be busy.
Okay. He's got a tight social schedule. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, but speaking of shtick, let's get into yours, Tony. You've got you mentioned to me yesterday that you're going to do something a little bit different today. Have you still got trivia for us?
I still got some trivia. I do want to start with a little bit of a fun fact, if we could.
We absolutely can.
Like me, Frogger, you're a big fan of the Peanuts. Snoopy, Charlie Brown, even Lucy, but Pigpen, Schroeder, the whole gang. They were creations of Charles Schulz.
Correct.
Did you know, Frogger, that the Peanuts are still so popular that they earned Charles Schulz's estate $32.5 million last year?
$32.5 million.
After he passed away, they're $32 million. That's good enough to make him the fourth highest paid dead celebrity of the year.
Okay.
Right behind Michael Jackson, Elvis, and fellow cartoonist Theodore Geisel, who's also known as, come on, Frogger.
That would be Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss, that is correct. Now, of course, we've got the Charlie Brown Christmas coming up, which is one of our favorites. It was a favorite as a kid, and it still is now. And we used to love that dance scene. You know, you had Shermie, the shepherd, who's there doing the Frankenstein or the walking zombie, as they call it.
Yeah.
But then we had that uncredited character that we used to think was Franklin, who's just killing it out on the dance floor with the Charleston and with that head rocking back and forth.
Oh, yeah. Jen's doing it right now. Yeah. She knows the move. Yeah.
But, so
our listeners can picture it in their head, too. And
everybody
this
knows.
is great.
It's cute.
yeah, everybody's doing it right now. If you're not, you need to check it out.
Yep. Definitely. All right, so you got trivia for
we need
us,
to
and I
set
want to
up
explain the rules.
Okay.
All right, so Tony's got trivia questions. Andrew, Jen, and I, we're going to hit our buzzers. We call out our names. So that's Jen, Andrew, and for whatever reason, Frogger. But you at home, you've got the advantage. Don't shout out your name. Shout out the answer and see if you can beat us. But the three of us, we're pretty good at this. So I don't know that you're going to be able to do it. But let's see. I will keep score. You keep score at home. And Tony, let's do it.
Perfect. So a little bit of trivia that Big T found is we're going to play a little game, and it's name the occupation or roughly the common theme, what their role was in these TV shows or movies. So I'm going to give you the character.
Time out. Let's back up.
A lot happening here.
I need to reread the instructions on that one. We're naming the occupation
of a TV show character.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You'll get the hang of it. It'll be pretty easy.
Okay.
So Danny Reagan and Andy Sipowicz.
Oh, Frogger.
They
were cops. They were detectives, right?
They were both cops. That is correct.
All right. I got this.
Isaac Washington from The Love Boat and Brian Flanagan from
Andrew.
Cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew.
Bartender.
Both of them were bartenders. That is correct.
There we go. And Andrew didn't even need The Love Boat. He
Hey,
knew
nope.
who bartender Isaac was.
Isaac was so smooth. You remember that song, Frogger, when he's out there singing, shaking his cocktails, going, he's so shy.
Oh, yeah. Play on, player.
Play on, player. All right. Gregory House and Doogie Howser.
Jen.
Oh,
Jen.
Doctors, MDs.
They were doctors. That is correct. Newman and Cliff
Frogger.
Frogger.
They were mail carriers.
They were postal workers. That is correct.
Yeah.
Ally McBeal. Claire
Andrew.
Huxtable.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew.
Lawyer?
They were lawyers.
Lawyers?
The third one I had on the list was Denny Crane.
Yeah, I forgot that Claire Huxtable was a lawyer. Yeah.
That's correct. Hawkeye Pierce.
Frogger.
And Derek Shepard. Frogger.
They were doctors.
They were doctors as well.
Yeah.
Mo from The Simpsons and Woody
Jen.
Frogger.
from here. Frogger.
I think it was Jen.
Oh, and bartenders?
They were bartenders
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of bartenders in this list.
Right.
I'm sensing a theme.
We love to watch TV shows about cops, doctors, and bartenders.
Well, once you eliminate cops, doctors, and bartenders, there's not many TV
There's
shows
not
out
much
there.
else to do.
Right?
That is correct. That is correct. Latka Gravis and Travis Bickle.
Andrew.
Oh,
Andrew.
Were they taxi drivers?
no.
Taxi
Frogger.
drivers is correct.
Oh,
No, they're taxi drivers. Latka from the TV show Taxi.
he was a
and Travis
mechanic.
Bickle.
Okay.
He
The
drove a
taxi.
taxi
There
first,
you
and then
go.
he was a mechanic.
I get it.
I think
Damn, you're
Andrew's got
proposing
it.
taxi.
Andy
Maybe that.
Taylor and Joe Friday.
Frogger,
Was the first one?
Frogger.
they were cops as well, detectives.
Again, police officers.
Detective Joe Friday.
All right. So, once again, if you're joining us late, we are playing cops, doctors, or bartenders. Name the occupation.
Walter White and Gabe Cotter.
Jen,
Andrew.
Oh,
teachers.
They are teachers.
I went
That is
drug
correct.
dealer
Mr.
to the second
Carter.
God damn.
Oh, okay, Tony, I got a side trivia question for you. Yesterday, Epstein missed school, but it was an excused absence because he brought a note signed by who?
Epstein's mother.
That's right.
All righty. Steve McCaffrey, Dennis McCaffrey, Brian McCaffrey.
Frogger.
Okay, Andrew.
Frogger.
I'm going with lawyers.
Incorrect. Andrew.
Oh, wait, these is TV shows. I was going real life.
Oh,
I was going athletes.
yeah, running backs.
This was from a movie. All three brothers in the movie Backtracks.
Oh, Jen. Well, that just gave
Jen.
away, I guess. Firefighters.
They were all firefighters. That is correct.
Let me go, Joe.
Roger Murtaugh, Martin Riggs.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Well, okay, cops, detectives.
Cops, detectives, correct. Name the movie.
Lethal Weapon, 1 through 2, 3, and 4.
That's an extra point there.
There we go.
All righty. Billy Ray Valentine,
Frogger.
Louis Winthrop, Rant Frogger.
Okay.
Wow.
They were stockbrokers.
Stockbrokers, traders.
I
Louis
don't know that
Winthrop,
Valentine
Randolph
actually had his license, but
For $1.
right?
But he was trading.
Yeah.
And the last on that list was Gordon Gecko.
Yeah.
All right. Mrs. Frizzle and
Andrew.
Edna Crabat.
Teachers.
They were teachers. That is correct. Jessica Rabbit, Ricky Ricardo, and Hannah Montana.
Frogger.
Okay.
Frogger.
Ooh.
Singers.
They were all singers. That is
Yeah, I was going to go with nightclub
Yeah.
singers until you said Hannah Montana.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Andrew.
Amanda Whirlsworth. Andrew.
Baseball players. Baseball.
Baseball players. That is correct. Frank Drebin and Frank Poncherello.
Andrew.
Wow.
Frogger.
You guys are good.
They were cops,
Again, they were cops.
right?
Jesus Shuttlesworth,
Andrew.
Jimmy Chitwood, Andrew.
Oh,
Basketball players.
Basketball players, correct. All right, what did these three characters have in common? Ivan Drago, Clubber Lang, and Apollo Creed.
Andrew.
Jen.
Andrew,
They all faced against Rocky. In Rocky movies.
they were all Rocky's opponents. That's correct. Occupation, Eric Taylor, Herman Boone, Jimmy
Andrew.
Dugan, Andrew.
Coaches.
Coaches.
oh,
correct.
Jimmy Dugan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
Look at
remember
their
what he signed on that kid's baseball?
Uh,
Yeah, I don't
his-
either.
He signed an X.
No,
No, that wasn't him.
No.
All right, name the
We'll
occupation.
talk about it
and
off the air,
TV show.
Andrew.
Got it.
All right, name the occupation and the TV show. Buford T. Justice,
Oh, Frogger.
Shut Frogger.
So that wasn't a TV show. That was a movie. Buford
Correct.
T. Justice was sheriff, and he chased the snowman and Smokey and the Bandit.
That is correct.
What?
I
Wow.
incorrectly said TV show and not movie. I read
Right.
the wrong line. So occupation and TV show on this one, Boss Hogg and Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Andrew.
Oh.
Oh.
Andrew,
I was going to say Dukes of Hazzard.
that was from Dukes of Hazzard. And the occupation?
Oh.
They were doctors.
When in doubt.
Gosh. I don't know.
Well, they
Road
weren't
Builders?
doctors and they weren't
Yeah.
bartenders, so they were.
Bootleggers.
You're only getting half a point on that one, buddy.
They were sheriffs.
Okay. Got it.
Occupation and TV show, Miss Crabtree.
Jen.
Jen,
Teacher?
Oh, that's right.
correct. And TV show?
Oh, no.
I got it.
Swing and a miss on that one.
Frogger, you're getting half a point, Jen.
Frogger.
Miss Crabtree was teacher to Spanky and the Little Rascals.
Oh.
It was from Little Rascals teacher, correct. John McClane, Harry Callahan, and Axel Foley.
Andrew.
Jen.
Andrew.
Well, they were all detectives, cops.
Yes, and we're back to cops again.
And John McClane and Axel Foley were Detroit cops.
Correct.
All right.
It's not a Christmas
No, John
movie, by the
McCain
way.
was.
It is
John
not.
McCain was L.A., wasn't it?
No, he was not. He was in L.A., but he was from
He
Detroit.
came to see his family.
Right? His estranged
Oh,
family.
okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
But again, still cops.
Still cops.
All right, we ready for some regular trivia?
Yes, please.
Yes. Moving on from cops, bartenders, or teachers. Name the occupation, or doctors. Moving on.
Not as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
All right.
But
how
we
many
do have a couple
syllables
minutes
are
to
there-
redeem yourself, T.
Perfect. How many syllables are there in a haiku?
Frogger.
Jen.
Roger.
12.
Okay.
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Jen.
Andrew. Oh,
Jen was next.
In the word haiku?
no, in a
No.
haiku.
Oh.
In a haiku.
Oh.
Oh, give it to Andrew.
Is it 17?
17 is correct. 5, 7, and 5.
Here we go.
What central mountain range runs from Maine to Alabama?
Frogger.
Frogger.
The Appalachians.
Appalachians is correct.
Yay.
What 1993 dance craze was brought on by the Spanish group
Jen.
called Los del Rio? Jen?
The Macarena.
Macarena is correct.
That's a naughty song, by the way.
A little bit, yeah. A little cheeky.
Famed by her 5-octave vocal range, which American pop singer is known as Songbird Supreme or Queen of Melissa?
Jen.
And Queen of Christmas. Jen.
That would be Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey.
Fun fact about Mariah Carey, did you know that she makes $3 million a year in royalties from the one song, All I Want for
Incredible.
Christmas?
It's incredible.
$3 million for just
Yeah.
rolling herself out on stage and singing that song. We got time for one more question. Make it quick, T.
All right, what pop group co-founded by Nick and Drew Lachey could technically be
Jen.
measured 36.67 Celsius?
Go for it, Jen.
That would be 98 degrees.
98 degrees.
And I'm
correct.
impressed that
Here we
Andrew
go.
knew that. He was right there with me.
And by half a point, engineer Andrew pulls it off this week. Big T, thanks for swinging by. We appreciate it. We'd also like to thank our guests, college and career counselor at SCVi Charter School, Kris Nilsen, from the Maine, Jeff Barber, and Naomi Stenson, producer Sarah, engineer Andrew, engineer Jen, and thank you for listening. And enjoy the holiday lights out there. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well, do good, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.